see that got your attention.
The time has finally come, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my Archfiend deck profile in 2022 with the new Archfiend support. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this new support has turned Archfiends up to 11. And we're wasting no time, we're going to get straight into it. So we have 27 monsters in this deck. We play 2 Archfiend Emperor, 2 Archfiend Empress, 2 Labrynth Archfiend, 1 Silver Castle. We have an Archfiend General, an Archfiend Cavalry, 2 Labrynth Servant Arianas, the Dark Spirit of Banishment, Dark Spirit of Malice. Then we also have Labrynth Chandra ×2, Fiend Griefing ×3, 3 Tour Guide of the Underworld, 2 Archfiend Heiress, 2 Skarm, and 2 Stovey. So the main idea of this deck, as it always has been, is to float continuously and attack with high-powered, high-attack Archfiend monsters for game. Pure beatdown in 2022, ladies and gentlemen. Pure force. So we play Archfiend Empress thanks to her floating power. I play it at 2 just because if she gets banished I find it very frustrating. You could easily change that out to your preference. Archfiend Emperor, a bit cloggy at 3. 2 is just fine. Normal summon it, pop stuff, float with Empress back into Emperor. It's pretty decent. Silver Castle isn't the best card in this deck, but she can recycle your normal traps. Notably Archfiend's Roar and Archfiend Glitch, more on that later. We play 2 Labrynth Archfiend. Playing it at 2 is perfectly fine. Activate a trap, or if your opponent activates a trap, you can special summon Labrynth Archfiend from the hand. This is a really nice extender because if you blow up your board, or if they negate and destroy your stuff with whatever it might be, you can always activate her effect, bring her onto your side of the field, and search an additional trap from your deck. Archfiend General, haven't heard that name in years. Discard it from the hand to the graveyard. Search Pandemonium from your deck to the hand. If you're unsure what Pandemonium does, it's a field spell, and each time your Archfiend monsters are destroyed by a card effect, you can search an Archfiend monster from your deck with a level less than the monster that was destroyed. And it's also not once per turn, so you can search infinitely so long as your monsters are destroyed. 1 Archfiend Cavalry, it's a normal summon, it's a name. If it gets destroyed, it's an if, not a when. You can special summon 1 Archfiend monster from your graveyard. It's pretty decent. 2 Labrynth Servant Ariana, she can search your Labrynth Archfiend. She can also special summon lots of crazy stuff. She can draw cards. She is a very good card for the Archfiend strategy. I only play it at 2 because 3 is a bit cloggy because you can special summon her straight from the deck with Welcome Labrynth anyway. 2 Dark Spirits goes without saying, right? Can summon the Archfiend monsters from the graveyard, and they can recycle themselves from the graveyard once those Archfiends get destroyed. Very good for the floating loop. The 2 Stovey and Chandra are nice starters, so they can discard themselves, search and set Labrynth spell or traps directly from the deck. Pretty decent. And because it's a quick effect, if they go first and you have it in your hand, you can set yourself up for your turn. 3 Fiendish Rhino Warriors, mills Fiends straight from the deck. You can discard it off of Chandra, get additional mills. Pretty good. Tour Guide, another starter, can go into Master King, more on that later. Heiress, just play it at 2, you can easily play it at 3, but if you summon Master King, then you can recycle her multiple times anyway. And then the Skarms to search for the Dark Spirits or the Tour Guide. So that sums up all the monsters. Now let's get onto the spells and the traps. 1 Foolish Burial, Archfiends work in the graveyard, can send a monster for free. Pretty good. 3 Void Apocalypse, pretty stable card in an Archfiend deck. Discard a card, send a fiend from the deck to the graveyard. Pretty staple engine, it's a bread and butter card. Discard Rhino Warrior, send a Dark Spirit, send an Empress, recycle the Dark Spirit into the hand. You can also send Heiress to search Archfiend Glitch, to search Archfiend's Roar, Call of the Archfiend, whatever you need. Void Apocalypse can pretty much guarantee that you're going to get it. Pandemonium is so good to be able to play Pandemonium in 2022. Being able to search Labrynth Archfiend and then summon it off of Ariana's effect is super strong in my book. And more often than not, Labrynth Archfiend is going to have over 3k attack and maybe even 4k attack, so it's a force to be reckoned with. 2 of the new field spell, Labrynth. So once you activate a normal trap, you can special summon a fiend from your hand or graveyard. So you activate Archfiend's Roar, you can now bring out 2 of your Archfiend monsters, pretty strong. Maybe you have Silver Castle as well, then you can put that Archfiend's Roar straight back on your side of the field. Very powerful. You can also pop as well. If you activate Welcome Labrynth, then you can destroy a card on their side of the field. Not bad. 3 Torrential Tribute. So Torrential Tribute is obviously very good. Stops the Sword Soul matchup in their tracks. And also because it blows up the field, you're going to benefit from it because if you destroy Empress or Cavalry, they're going to come back. If you have Pandemonium on your side of the field, that's going to search out your Labrynth Archfiend. And it just so happens to be searchable with the Fair Welcome Labrynth card that we happen to run. We play Archfiend's Roar at 2. You can also play it at 3 if you like, but you can search it, you can recycle it. It's a very good card. Pay 500 life points, special summon an Archfiend monster from your graveyard, which gets around Zombie World, by the way. And can't be tributed, which means they can't, use the Floanderies cards to tribute your monsters. They also can't kaiju over your monsters, so it's actually a bit of a buff. It used to be a nerf back in the day. And then it gets destroyed during the end phase which is going to proc everything. We play 2 Fiend Griefing, disrupt their graveyard, send what we need into the grave, search, recycle, you know the gig. We play 3 Welcome Labrynth, special summon 1 Labrynth monster from your deck. Usually this is Ariana to search your Labrynth Archfiend, to then special summon a bit later on, or you could literally just bring Labrynth Archfiend straight onto your side of the field, search Fair Welcome Labrynth, and you're good to go. Silver Castle is also a fairly decent one, so bring her out onto your side of the field, recycle your traps. She also makes it so your opponent can't react to your normal trap activations through their monster effects. 2 Fair Welcome Labrynth, it's a battle trap, it's searchable off of Labrynth Archfiend. You destroy cards on their side of the field, you negate their attacks, and then you can also set non-Labrynth traps from your deck. 3 Archfiend Glitch, this is our searchable disruption. Destroy a card on their side of the field, send a card from your deck to the graveyard. What more could you want in an Archfiend card? It's absolutely nuts. And then of course we have 1 Call of the Archfiend. Discard Fiends into the grave, special summon level 5 or higher onto your side of the field. Pretty good. Archfiends have always been about big beaters from the main deck, so their power relies in the main deck rather than the extra deck. Having said that, we're going to use the extra deck as pure utility, effectively. So starting off with the Exceed lineup, we have 1 Zeus, nice to have a panic button. We have the Draglubion package for that Numeron Dragon 9k OTK. 1 copy of Dante and 1 copy of Beatrice. So Beatrice is still very useful to set your grave up with basically everything that you need. So if you summon Tour Guide, you can go into Rhino Warrior, into Dante, mill of Dante, discard Scum, go into Beatrice, and then you can mill on their turn, and then you've got your Dark Spirit Empress combo set up. We have a Downward Magician, just so we can overlay for that additional Zeus material. We have an Exciton Knight, because we do have 2 level 4s at least, so if that situation does come up, then we can always overlay into Exciton, and then that's an additional panic button to blow the field up. And that also benefits you. So we play a Stone King Darius. This is a level 3 Exceed. That's a Fiend type, because unfortunately Welcome Labrynth restricts you into only summoning Fiend type monsters for that turn and the next turn. So this is just a card if you need to overlay into Darius. It can't be destroyed because it can detach a card, and then you can attack, and then you can just overlay into Zeus, or Downward and then Zeus, and then wipe the board if you have to. And those are all of the Exceed lineups, and then we just play a little link package here. So we play 2 Underworld Goddess of a Closed World. So this is a very good card, obviously. You can tribute their monsters, so that's a nice panic button, and we play it at 2 because you can summon fairly easily now in an Archfiend deck, which is a bit weird, but I'll take it. And then it also negates all of their monster effects, and if they want to special summon from the graveyard, that's a once per turn, not a hard once per turn, so if you happen to have 2, you can negate twice. 1 Link 4, which is Unchained Abomination, destroy a bunch of stuff, it happens to be Fiend, it's a very good card. Our Link 3 is Nightmare Unicorn. I'm considering bumping this up to 2, just because of how good its disruption is, so yeah, we play that. And then finally, we play a Master King Archfiend and a Cherubini. Cherubini used to be our starter card. It still is in a way, but if you're searching Archfiend Glitch, she's clearly not a Fiend, so you have to think about that. What line of play are you going to go for? Is this decision making in an Archfiend deck? But Master King though, not bad. What you can do is summon Tour Guide, summon a Fiendish Rhino Warrior, go into Master King, send an Heiress, chain block it with Master King, search Archfiend Glitch, and you've got a disruption on your turn. If you happen to have Torrential Tribute, that's 2 disruptions, and you can also mill off of Archfiend Glitch. Might be an additional Heiress to search a second one, where you might want to send some Dark Spirits into the grave, or an Archfiend Empress. So keep in mind, this is off of 1 Tour Guide, so you're going to have additional cards in your hands. If you have a Void Apocalypse, for example, you can set your graveyard up with everything that you need for your Empress Revival loop, and then you've also got a disruption. So that's all of the main deck and extra deck. The current side deck, again, it's to your liking, but what I'm using is Nibiru ×3, because everyone and their mums are using Auroradon and Halki Fibrax. So if I can Nibiru the field, then happy days. We play 1 of each of Invader of Darkness to stop all quick plays, so that shuts down Sky Strikers and Mr. Rune. We play 1 Chaos Hunter to shut down all sorts of decks, right? So shut down Sword Soul, to shut down PK, they can't banish stuff, pretty strong. If you have Dark Spirit of Banishment, you're protecting it in battle as well. Then we play 1 End of Anubis, so this shuts down the graveyard. It's going to hurt your opponent way more than it's going to hurt you, so it's a very good floodgate. 2500 attack, and all 3 of these can be revived through Call of the Archfiend and Archfiend Empress. Then we play a little Super Poly package, which I'm still debating, so 3 Super Poly, and we play a Mud Dragon, Dragostapelia, and Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. So you're going to out Dragoon, you're going to out all of the dark cards that people are using these days. So PK has a few darks. Mud Dragon is fairly decent in some unique situations. And then we play 3 Falling Down, because if they have Chen Ying, Grand Duke, whatever you want to call him, use Falling Down, take him so that you no longer have to deal with him. Then banish off of Emperor, destroy their card, banish 2 of their cards. Because of how quickly you can summon Archfiends onto your side of the field, and with Labrynth Archfiend as a nice extender, falling down is live more often than you think. I just have it in the side because I tried to go first more often than not, but in games 2 and 3 this might be a valuable card to put in if there are some problem cards on their side of the field that you can target. So Archfiends are good. I'll go as far as to say they're very good now. And the amount of chain links that you can get with some of the cards that you have now, such as Fair Welcome Labrynth or Archfiend's Roar, is just absolutely insane. So I'll just show you. So in this particular scenario, what I've got is Archfiend Empress in the graveyard, and I have a Fair Welcome Labrynth and an Archfiend's Roar face down. So all I need to do, activate Pandemonium, activate Archfiend's Roar, summon Empress onto my side of the field. During the battle phase, I will attack with Empress. The more optimal players to attack with Ariana first, just depends on their board state. Then activate Fair Welcome Labrynth to destroy your own Empress. Now read this card carefully. It says, target 1 card on the field, negate the attack, and if you do, destroy that target. Then you can set 1 non-Labrynth normal trap from your deck onto the field. So there's 2 clauses there, and if you do, and then you can. Because the then you can is optional, we're not going to do it, which means the last thing to activate in the chain is the destruction, which means Archfiend Empress will get destroyed, and all the when clauses will then trigger. So check this out. Empress will get destroyed. Now, we will activate Ariana's effect first, then Pandemonium. Everything else is whatever you want. So let's just watch the magic happen. Chaining 3, chaining 4, chaining 5, chaining 6, chaining 7, chaining 8, chain link 9. Now things will resolve. Everything gets added back to your hand. Things get set onto the field. Labrynth Archfiend gets summoned. Emperor gets summoned. Then Pandemonium will resolve, allowing you to search for a level 7 or lower Archfiend monster. In this particular case, I've searched for Labrynth Archfiend. Ariana's effect will activate, where we can draw a card. Then we can special summon a fiend from our hand, which just happens to be the one we searched off of Pandemonium. We draw, summon Labrynth Archfiend onto our side of the field. Labrynth Archfiend's effect activates, search for Fair Welcome Labrynth, and now we have lethal and attack for game. All of that, ladies and gentlemen, is during the battle phase. So what you can do, you might even have more monsters on your side of the field. You can attack, do whatever you need to do, and then with the last card that you're going to attack with, just activate Fair Welcome Labrynth, destroy your own Empress, and then you can attack with 2 to 3 more monsters. It's just ridiculous. The exact same thing happens with Archfiend's Roar as well. Bring your Empress onto your side of the field, it will get destroyed, and all of this upwards of Chain Link 9 will activate, and then you can re-establish your board and plus like mad. So if we think about it, so you're going to set Welcome Labrynth, you're going to set Fair Welcome Labrynth off of Labrynth Archfiend, you're going to draw off of Ariana, you're going to special summon off of Ariana, so you could count that as like field advantage. You're going to bring back Stovey, you're going to bring back Chandra, you're going to bring back the Dark Spirits. So we're already on +7, potentially +8. And we also have the second Labrynth Archfiend that's going to special summon itself. So that could be potentially like +7 to +9, depending on how you calculate it, in an Archfiend deck, ladies and gentlemen. So other combos that you can do, right? So as I mentioned earlier, you can use Tour Guide from the Underworld, depending on what you want to do. You can summon Fiendish Rhino Warrior, and then this can easily go into Master King Archfiend. And then Fiendish Rhino Warrior's effect will activate, and this allows you to send an heiress into the graveyard, which will trigger, and then you can chain block it with Master Key so that they can't ash it, if they didn't ash your Tour Guide already. And that is going to do whatever it needs to do. It's going to send heiress back into the hand, perfectly fine. And then we can search our Archfiend Glitch, and this is our disruption on our turn. We happen to have Torrential Tribute in our hands, that's 2 disruptions. Fair Welcome Labrynth as well, if they don't happen to harpies things and we make it to the battle phase, that's a 3rd disruption. Or if you like, we can activate Stovey, for example, send heiress into the graveyard, set, say, a Welcome Labrynth directly onto our field, and then the Master King Archfiend's effect will activate. And then because Edo's kind of messed up, we have to figure out which one is which. I believe the first one is going to be Archfiend Heiress. Let's have a look. No, it was Stovey. But the whole point is to put Archfiend Heiress back into your deck, so you don't lose it. So in this case, we drew Torrential and Archfiend Glitch, which is pretty good, which means Tour Guide could search a second glitch if we like. Or we could go for more of like the Skarm route, and then go into Cherubini. Cherubini can then send a Fiendish Rhino Warrior into the graveyard, which can then send an heiress. And the heiress is going to search for an Archfiend card, so that could be anything really, but we're going to bring Archfiend Empress into our hand. Then of course we've got the Void Apocalypse to discard Empress, and then we can do whatever we like. So we could send Silver Castle, we could send any other level 8 Fiend or lower, so that we can float with Empress. But actually what I'm going to do instead is send Malice into the graveyard. And then with Glitch face down, what we can do on their turn, first of all, just resolve Scum. So we're going to bring Banishment into our hand. Then let's say, for example, on their turn, they summon something, they say they activate it, whatever, and then we activate Torrential Tribute, blow everything up, and then that is going to allow us to special summon Labrynth Archfiend from the hand. And because we've done that, we can do additional searches, and if you like, we can also activate Archfiend Glitch to pop one of their cards, just for demonstrative purposes. I'm going to destroy my own card, and then I'm going to send Emperor into the graveyard. I'm going to set cards on our side of the field, and then we get Malice back into our hand. So that's got our full combo there, with a Disruption and also Labrynth to basically absorb all the attacks. So Ariana is a pretty good card to start off with, so you can always summon her. Providing it doesn't get ashed, you can use her ability to either search for a Labrynth Archfiend, or in this particular case, it's probably better to search for Welcome Labrynth. We have Foolish Burial in our hand as well. So with Foolish, what we could do is send Heiress into the grave. Heiress's effect is going to activate. We could bring an Archfiend Glitch into our hand. That wouldn't be a bad shout. For now, I'm going to bring Archfiend Empress, just so I can use Labrynth Stovey to discard it into the graveyard, and that's going to allow me to set something onto our side of the field. In this case, it's going to be Labrynth. So now, if we activate this, depending on what we want to do, it's also each effect. So we've got two traps here. So we've got Archfiend's Roar. If we activate this, we can bring Empress back onto our side of the field and special summon something additional through Labrynth effect. And also we have Welcome Labrynth, which means we can summon, for example, Silver Castle. We can summon Labrynth Archfiend onto our side of the field. So just to kind of show you what I mean. So there's summon Archfiend Heiress. We are going to activate Welcome Labrynth, and thanks to our field spell, we can pop a card on the field. So let's first of all summon Labrynth Archfiend on the outside of the field. Then we'll pop Heiress. This is going to allow us to do all sorts of crazy shenanigans. We activate Labrynth Archfiend, we can activate Ariana's effect, and then we can also put Stovey onto our side of the field just because we had it face down. So set that, we're going to draw, we can special summon one of these, which is probably a good idea. So let's just bring Rhino Warrior out. And then Labrynth Archfiend is going to set something. And because we have Archfiend's Roar, what we could do is activate it and summon Archfiend Empress onto our side of the field. Now, if we had a certain board state, if we had less cards on our side of the field, probably could have used Stovey there, to be fair. We could have then special summoned again off of Labrynth. So not bad. So with this hand, it's not the best hand in the world. We could special summon Scum, and then we could normal summon Rhino Warrior, but instead we're going to use Void Apocalypse, and we're going to get rid of Rhino Warrior first. This is going to send an Heiress into the graveyard. The Heiress is going to search for a Archfiend Glitch, and Fiendish Rhino Warrior is going to send a Dark Spirit of Banishment into the graveyard. So we bring Glitch to our hand. Then we can go ahead, I don't know, just normal summon Scum or something, set Glitch, and that makes it live. And then next turn, let's just say, for example, they summon something, we're going to destroy their monster, and then we can send a Fiend from the deck to the grave, which could be Archfiend Empress, for example, and that will bring Dark Spirit of Banishment into our hand. So we've got a Disruption plus a Recycle. So yeah, the deck is fairly consistent. It's more of a control variant than sort of like a combo deck. So the idea is not to spit out a ton of negates, but it's to slowly play and win through Battle of Attrition. So being able to summon efficiently, float effectively with Archfiend Empress, bring all of your resources back with a small Labrynth engine, nothing too fancy, and kind of just confuse your opponent really that you're using Archfiends in 2022. So I encourage you to give this a go. The deck, I feel, is far from optimal at this particular stage, just because we're so new to the archetype and so new to deck building with these new cards. I want to still continue to deck build. Really eager to hear your thoughts and feelings on this deck moving forward, how we can tweak it best we can, and make it as much of a meta contender as humanly possible. According to Yugipedia, as I mentioned before, we should be getting even more Archfiend support in the Ghosts from the Past, the Second Haunting set That should be coming out in about May time, so I'm really eager to see what that new support is. It is particularly distinct from Red Dragon Archfiend, according to Wikipedia, so my hope is kindled, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to see what it is. But for now, that about wraps it up. If you enjoyed this video, my name's Adam. If you didn't, my name's Steve. And if you would like to see more Archfiend related duels, reviews, combos, and discussions, then feel free to have a browse and hit like and subscribe so that you can see more of this content in the near future, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when new content is released. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you around.